Hello everyone, and welcome to the tutorial on the presentation of JWCF's e-learning platform, addressed to JWCF trainers who follow the progress of their learners on the e-learning platform. The aim of this tutorial is to present the platform, its functions, and its advantages. As you know, e-learning is a training type which is fully integrated into the training course called Blended Learning. It is a complementary tool which must allow the learners to deepen and consolidate their knowledge over the course of their training. Firstly, we are going to remind you how to access the platform. So to access the platform, you must log in on the website, the address of which you can see here, by using your username and password communicated to you by the coordination department. You will then arrive on the welcome page of the platform. In order to visualize the content available to your learners, you will click on Show Content For, and you will select the learner concerned from the list provided. So we can see here that this learner has access to Business English, comprising of different business English topics, as well as professional vocabulary, verb tenses, grammar, and videos. The learner also has access to General English and some online workbooks. These online workbooks are separated into the different CECRL levels, going from A1 to C1, and deal principally with grammar. The platform itself is organized into modules, which are divided into sequences. Each sequence corresponds to a CECRL level and is organized around the same structure, the details of which you can find in the PDF document attached to this tutorial called Séquences et Niveaux. It is important that you master the advantages of the different sequences and that you know how to make use of them during your coaching sessions. So to access the sequence, we will click on it. And we can see here that the sequence has a specific structure, always starting with the starter activity and finishing with the speaking document. The starter activity is separated into two sub-tabs. In starter activity 1, the learner will listen to words or expressions and read their definitions.
A business card.
The learner will click on the arrow to access the following word or expression.
To manage.
It is an exercise to memorize and learn vocabulary. In fact, it is possible to conceal the word or the definition by clicking on Words or Definitions on the right of the screen. Starter Activity 2. This exercise allows the learner to check that they have successfully learned the vocabulary from the previous exercise. The learner will select the answers and at the end we'll use the Check Answers button to check the results. So here we have the result, and we can see that there are in total 4 mistakes. The learner will have to use the Try Again button to do the exercise again. It is very important that if your learner makes mistakes, that you advise him or her to redo the exercises. Moving on to comprehension. Comprehension is also separated into two sub-tabs. In Comprehension 1 and 2, the learner will listen to an audio clip that can be started by clicking on the play button. The learner also has the possibility to listen to the audio at a slower pace by clicking on the play button with the tortoise. The learner can at any moment pause the audio and can listen as many times as necessary. After listening, the learner will complete the listening comprehension exercises. In comprehension 1, it is a question of selecting the appropriate corresponding letters. Once completed, the learner will use the Check Answers button to check the results. And will use the Try Again button if necessary. In Comprehension 2, we have the same audio clip, but this time with some more in-depth comprehension questions. The learner will select the answers and will click on the Check Answers button at the end to check the result. You should advise the learner to do the exercise again if he or she has made any mistakes. Focus on language. So using the same audio clip as in the previous exercise, here we have vocabulary comprehension exercises. The learner will fill in the spaces with the words provided in the list. For example, if we type a word, we will see now that this word is crossed out. Another option is to use the copy and paste tool, and we can see now again that this word is crossed out. This, of course, is to let the learner know that these words have already been used and cannot be used again. I would like to draw your attention to the Next button that we can see here. This indicates that there is more than one page to this exercise. So if we click on Next, we will arrive on the second page of the exercise with a new list of vocabulary, and we will click again on Next to arrive on the final page. Once the learner has completed each page of exercises, he will use the Check Answers button to check the result, and you should advise the learner to do the exercise again if he or she has made any mistakes. Read and listen. Here we can find the transcript of the audio from the previous exercises. The idea is that the learner will listen to the audio and will read the text at the same time. The aim of this exercise is for the learner to associate the sound of a word with what he or she reads. The learner also has the possibility to look up the vocabulary if need be by using the Oxford Dictionary that we can see on the left-hand side of the screen. For example, if we write a word and press Enter, this will automatically give us the definition in English. Another option is to use the Google image search. So again, we type the word, press Enter. This will send us to a Google image page where we can see many different images of the word. And the final option, although this should really be a last resort for your learner, is to use the translation tool. So again, we write the word, we press Enter, and this automatically gives us the translation from English to French. Study. So this is a PDF document which can be printed. In this document, we can find lessons corresponding to all of the points dealt with in the sequence. We can also find many different exercises which are proposed. And at the end, the learner can check the answers. Practice. Practice is separated into 2 subtabs. In practice 1 and 2, the learner can do exercises to practice and to check that he or she has successfully understood and learnt the lesson. In practice 1, it is a question of selecting the appropriate corresponding letter. And in practice 2, it is a question of filling in the spaces with the words provided. In both cases, once completed, the learner will use the Check Answers button to check the result, and you should advise the learner that if he or she has made any mistakes, to do the exercises again. Language recognition. So these are exercises which allow the learner to work on listening comprehension by choosing the correct answer. Language recognition 1. The learner will listen to 2 sentences, one sentence said by a man and one sentence said by a woman. These 2 sentences are very similar, but they are not the same. And the learner must decide which person said the correct sentence. And in language recognition 2, the learner this time will listen to just one sentence and must decide which sentence he or she heard. In both cases, we have the presence of the next button, which indicates to us that there is more than one page. Once the learner has completed each exercise, he or she will use the Check Answers button to check the result, and you should advise your learner that if he or she has made any mistakes, to do the exercise again. Pronunciation. The learner can record themselves as well as pronunciation and intonation by listening to themselves. So to start, the learner must click on Listen.
Pleased to meet you.
And will then click on Say It to record him or herself. And then after playback, to listen to him or herself. There is also a possibility to save the recording. So progress test. The aim of this activity is to test the learner's linguistic and grammatical knowledge acquired based on all of the points addressed during the sequence. It is a good solution which allows the learner to test themselves and to check what they have learned and what remains to be learned. And finally, the speaking document. Again, this is a PDF document which can be printed, and here we can find many exercises for you to do with your learner during an e-learning session, such as pronunciation, role play activities, and discussion subjects as well. At least one of these activities must be used during your e-learning sessions. I would now like to draw your attention to time spent, which we can see here on the platform. This is to indicate to the learner how much time he or she has spent doing a certain exercise or completing a complete sequence. As a coach, it is your responsibility to ensure that your learner achieves the minimum number of hours as written in the training contract. To do this, you are going to use the My Users section of the platform. So we will click on My Users, and this will take us to a page where we can see the list of the learners, the time spent, total time spent so far, and this time is also separated into the different months as well. If we want to have more information regarding this, we will click on the learner and we can see the total amount of time spent on each module. As a coach, it is also your responsibility to follow and to check the completed exercises. To do this, we will click on the module Emails, Letters and Reports, and then we can see the different sequences which have been completed. If we click on Formal and Informal Emails to have more information, we can see that this learner completed the majority of the exercises with a score of 100%, but did not complete Focus on Language or the progress test. So this is a very useful tool for you as far as your role as a coach. To return to the main page of the platform, you will click on My Courses. We hope that this tutorial has helped you to better master the functions of our e-learning platform and to better understand how to use this e-learning platform in the e-learning trainings of your learners. Thank you for listening.